Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Justin Wolf from Wolf Customs, and today I am taking a look at the Lion 24-liter backpack from GearBest.com. So when GearBest contacted me about a particular backpack, I took a look at the backpack and I realized it was not the type of backpack I wanted to do a review on. It's a backpack that we all have. It's a military size pack that's roughly this size with webbing all over it and everything else. Well, I told them that I have a need for a smaller backpack such as this, something that I could use more for, I don't know, a carry-on garment, or a piece of luggage for an airplane or something along those lines. Something that blends in a little bit more and doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So this is what I picked up. Now, the first time you see this in use, its maiden voyage is not going to be in the woods. In fact, this coming weekend, my daughter has a very large national size karate tournament that she is going to be attending, and we're going to use this backpack there. But let's take a look at some of the other features on this bag and get my initial thoughts, because I don't want to make this a review. I can't review a product that I've just gotten. I can give you my impressions and my initial thoughts. But as far as review goes, that just takes time. We have to use the product and figure out if we like it, if it's going to stand up to time. So when I first pulled this backpack out of the package, the first thing that I noticed was the appearance. Like I said, I was looking for a bag that was going to be something that would blend in with the general public and, not make people feel uncomfortable, because I tell you what, everybody is very sensitive these days. So, Lord knows I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. This bag gives me exactly what I'm looking for, something that blends in. Looking at the material looks and feels nice and structurally sound. One thing that I do notice right away is the feel of this mesh. It has kind of an abrasive feel to it, and almost like a scouring pad. I could use this to actually scrub a pot and pan if I wanted to. That's how abrasive it feels. Is that going to play a role? I don't know. Only time will tell. We'll find out when I pull this on and off my shoulders for sure. This here kind of popped out at me too. Looks like this is for compression. I've never quite seen one done in this fashion. I can see how it will work structurally. My thought process is, how comfortable is this going to be after you have this thing loaded up? Is it going to dig into the back? Because right now, all I've got in here is towels, just to give it shape and form. So that is something that I'm not necessarily going to know. Now, when I started messing with these, and I bared down, not very much, not much at all, compression on there, I actually popped a stitch, and that concerns me. This is a strap that is designed, that needs to be structurally strong. This is, in my opinion, a load-bearing strap because it is a compression strap. So like I said, that does kind of concern me a little bit. Most bags in today's day and age don't have this strap right here. And this is your load-bearing strap. This makes this back sit on your shoulders very comfortable. Makes the weight really snug up against your spine. And if you have a bag that doesn't have these and you put any type of weight in it, it really sags and it just does not feel comfortable at all. So the fact that they put these on there, I really, really like it. Now, there's a good amount of slack on this, and I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I understand People come in all different shapes and sizes, but this still seems a bit excessive, which is fine. I mean, there's no reason you can't adjust this to yourself, snip it, burn it, fold it over, put some stitches in it, call it a day. You don't even need to do that if you don't want. They actually have these spaces right here where you can fold this over, gorilla tape it or zip tie it, anything that you prefer. Something else that you could possibly think about doing is something along these lines here, where you simply just open this thing up and you can maybe run a light jacket or maybe a rain poncho or something along those lines through. Now keep in mind that if you run something through here and then you try to cinch it up, that will bring this up and it will sit decent on your back, but of course it's going to change the way it feels. But at least that's another option. I like the chest strap. It allows for adjustment up and down, and it does give you a decent amount of play. Possibly I'd like to see just a little bit more, but you know what? This is actually a pretty decent amount. I've seen a lot of pags that there just isn't as much play, and it almost seems like, well, what was the point? With this one, you do have a lot of play, and it does make a noticeable difference. Now the waist belt itself, this is going to be a spot where it's not an issue for me, but I have a feeling that it's probably going to be an issue for some. Is this belt does not sit on my hips where it needs to be. It sits a little bit higher. It actually sits on my lower gut. But like I said, it's not an issue for me because I don't have a gut. But if someone that did possibly have a gut, I could see that this might get pretty uncomfortable pretty fast if you actually used this particular strap, which if you load this bag up with a good amount of weight and you plan on carrying it for a long distance, you want to be able to strap this down. You want to be able to put that weight on those hips where it needs to be. Again, I could see that as being a problem. Something else here is these compartments here on the side. Now, one of the first things that we think of putting in here is a camera or a cell phone, something along those lines. Well, I actually tried to put my phone in here, my cell phone. It's a Galaxy S6 Edge, and it will not fit in here. This is not stretchy at all, so I was not going to get it to fit in here. Now, also keep in mind it's in a case. Is that going to affect it? If I take it out of the case and put it in here, will it fit in there? Possibly, but I'm not going to carry it in that manner. I want my phone in my case. I want to be able to put it in here. Again, it may not be an issue. Generally speaking, I wear cargo pants, so most of the time my phone is actually on my person at all times anyway. I'm not going to put it in here. For me personally, is what I am going to put in here is something like maybe a granola bar or something that I want to snack on quickly. Maybe a pocket knife or something like that. That's what I am generally going to look to put in here. But I can see a lot of people wanting to put a camera or a cell phone in here. So, you know, just by making this material stretchy, you would be able to give yourself that option. The size-wise is nice, but like I said, if this had a stretchier material or something like that, it would make a very good option. You know, so a lot of people are going to be wanting to know, what in the world is this? What are these for? What about this? What is all this? Well, or what about these even? Well, actually, you know what? I see a lot of people that use Trek poles, put their Trek poles in here, so I would imagine that that's possibly what that's designed for. But you know, use your imagination. This is bungee cord after all. You know, use your imagination. You can lash different things to this. You can even replace this and put a paracord in here. This is reinforced right here. It gives the appearance of leather, but I suspect that it is absolutely not. This here, a lot of people are going to say it's for compression. I've never really found a need to use this as a compression. and that's not saying that it's not for that. Is what I typically do is I would put maybe a jacket or whatever else that I want back here, and then just kind of cinch it down. These here, you know, my initial thoughts are for lashing other items onto it, you know, or possibly if you want to put this on the back of a kayak or something like that, well then now you can lash this down. Again, I love that on the bottom of the bag they give this feature here, so that if you want to use this on a hike, maybe you can put you know, a sleeping pad underneath there, or maybe a jacket or a poncho. This is just another option, and I like that. Options are always a good thing. So here's something that I didn't initially notice here. What in the world is this? Again, I would imagine that this is probably for your trekking poles maybe, and if they're not in use, stored out of the way. I'm not entirely sure, but that would be my initial thoughts on that. Now on the GearBest website, they actually have this listed as water resistant, and you know, you actually find that most of the time with most bags. Most bags are not going to be 100% waterproof just because of stitching and zippers and everything else. It's very hard to keep them waterproof. They do have this, like I said, listed as water resistant. So the fact that I have towels in here, we are going to dump some water on this thing, and we're going to see if anything gets wet or if anything leaks through. Now obviously I think it's safe to say that when we go into wilderness or anything along those lines, we better be, you know, actually prepared a little bit. So getting caught into a torrential downpour such as what just took place, and for us not to have something to be able to throw on over this and ourselves, such as a poncho, in a very short fashion, let's just say that we need to be able to do that in a quick manner. So I think that we both feel that when we open this bag, it's actually going to be wet inside. Start with this lid. Yeah, see, I can feel moisture on this already. So if it got in there, but then again, that was directly on a zipper, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So let's open this up. Yeah, right along the zipper line, of course. You know, that towel's not bad. It's damp, but not wet. This towel is actually bone dry. And the one on the bottom, it does have a little bit of moisture, probably where the bag was sitting directly on the ground, I would imagine. But while we're at it, let's take a look on the inside of this bag, shall we? Look right here. We can put maybe our maps, or again, whatever else we wish in here. The inside of this main compartment is actually pretty roomy and wide open, with not a whole bunch of exotic features like places for our pins and big lighters and everything else. Sometimes I think that that can be definitely overdone. We have another little pocket right here. Again, that's nice. I typically don't generally use them. I generally use just my main compartment and maybe this back panel to separate clean laundry from, you know, dirty laundry or something along those lines. But the main compartment in here, let's see. Yeah, there is definitely water on the bottom of the bag, which again, I think we all knew that was going to happen. What about this part right here? Oh crap, I actually left my wallet in there. So the fact that, nice. Boy, that could have been a disaster real fast, huh? Put that in there as a size reference, and it's dry. It's damp in here, I can feel it, but my wallet and I'm sure the contents are actually dry. So let's put that right back in my pocket now, shall we? So, good. That's nice. The bag kept my wallet dry. That's a plus. Well, there are my initial thoughts, likes, and concerns. Now the only thing that's left to do is load, or first, let's let this thing dry off and dry out a little bit. Gonna load this thing down, and we are going to take it to the tournament, see how it does. Wish my daughter luck, even though this is a very large national size tournament. We worked very hard, and she actually has a real opportunity to place very high. So let's keep our fingers crossed, keep her in our thoughts, prayers, and everything else. Now, before I get into my final thoughts of this bag, I want to congratulate my daughter. She did extremely well at that tournament, and I am so proud of her. This was not a small tournament. This is a very large national size tournament. And for her to be able to place third in weapons and third in sparring, that's huge, because the last time she attended this tournament, she took almost last in everything. It was a very large eye-opener for her. You know, she was so used to getting second and first in all the smaller tournaments that when she went to one where all the big dogs were, she realized that she had a lot of work to go, or had a lot of work to do. So we really stepped up our game. We've been training really hard this year, and obviously it paid off. So for her to go from almost last and everything to third, that's a pretty big step. So we're going to keep working hard, and that little girl just absolutely amazes me. But anyway, back to the bag. Okay, so I had a chance to really check this thing out while we were at the tournament, using it and everything else. I got to tell you, the size was absolutely perfect. I was able to fit my items, my wife's items, and my kids' items all in this bag without having to jam it. I still had room for more stuff if I wanted to. So as what that tells me is, if I wanted to personally use this bag as a summer hiking pack, I would be able to fit everything that I needed in it. Now, one of my criticisms when I first got it was how abrasive this material here was. Now, I think I might have been a little too harsh after using this bag. I never found that it bothered me or anything along those lines. You know, it is abrasive, but I never found it to be an issue. So I may have been just a little too rough on my critique with that. Now, as far as the compression straps here on the back go, I didn't know how these buckles were going to affect me. Now, I can tell you this. No, I did not wear this bag for a long hike. I had it on for short little spurts here and there, and I could feel these buckles. They never wore, it never rubbed me raw or anything like that, but I could feel them. And it just doesn't make sense to me why you would put a hard buckle in front of a pad. For the life of me, I can't figure that one out. So this is, I just can't get on board with these compression straps right here. Let's see here, what else was there on this bag? You know, really when it boils down to it, this actually is a really good bag for exactly what I wanted it for. And remember, everyone, this is a budget bag. This thing is under $40. So you're going to get what you pay for. You're not getting a Kelty or anything like that. You're getting a budget backpack, plain and simple. I would have really liked this bag had it not been for two things. The two things about this bag that bother me the most. Number one, those compression straps right there. I do not like that at all. I do think that at some point on a long trek, those will rub or irritate your back. That's a no-go. The other thing was when I put just a little bit of force on these compression straps, you've seen earlier how I had popped a stitch right there. For me, that lets me know there's a possibility of this thing failing on me in the field. I can't have that. Am I going to use this bag for exactly what I intended it for? You know, carry on or going to a hotel, something like that, for sure. Am I going to rely on this bag when I'm out in the field on a long extended hike? I just don't think I will, guys, because of it popping that stitch, and we want to be comfortable when we're out and about. So even though the local Lion 24-liter bag is actually a decent budget backpack, for me personally, I think I would have to pass if I had to purchase this bag for myself. But like I said, if you're on a budget, you're not, well, I mean, that's just what you're going to have to work with. You're not going to get the best materials, you're not going to get the best hardware, and you're not going to get the strongest stitching, plain and simple. If you want a bag that is going to be able to go out into the field and last and not have to worry about popping stitches or anything along those lines, unfortunately, you're going to have to spend a little bit more money. If you don't have the money to spend, this is not a bad option at all. Just keep in mind the things that I talked about that I did not personally like. Look at them from your own perspective and find out if you personally would mind or dislike those things. So anyways, I'm Justin Wolf from Wolf Customs. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review on the local Lion 24-liter backpack from gearbest.com. I am going to leave a link and description in my description box of this bag and where you can find it. As always, have a good one.